Hello, my name is Bill Bross, and I'm a developer here at Veith Consulting. Today's video is going to cover a global event registration configuration settings. To get to these, we're going to start at configuration from the main admin menu right here. Clicking on this will bring up our overall MMS configuration menu, where you can do all sorts of things, such as change general options in the system. We have all sorts of other tools and reports, QuickBooks settings. But what we're focusing on today is this other configuration option here. Any module-specific global options are going to be listed under here alphabetically by module. So coming down to here, we go to Event Registration Configuration. And this is going to be the main place that we go to change global settings for event registration. What I mean by that is that any changes made here will affect all of your events. The options on an event-by-event basis will be different, but anything changed here will affect everything. The way that this page is set up is use what's called an accordion menu, which means you can click on these titles and they will drop down and then pull back up if you click on them again. So you don't have to see everything at once. You can just look at the specific section you're interested in at the time. Now we're going to go over each of these sections and the options in it individually. And you'll also see here that each option has this little information icon next to it. Clicking that will bring up information about any one of these options that you click on. So if you ever forget or you need a quick refresher on what any of these ones do, clicking on that little eye right here will bring up more information about it. Okay, so starting up at the top here. First, we've got Open Event Registration in New Tab. That's fairly straightforward. What that does is normally if somebody clicks a link to register, it will open in the same tab that they're on. If you enable this, though, it will make them open in new tabs and preserve the page that they were on before. So that's all that that one does. The next one here, also pretty easy. We can hide event registration in the members area. Normally, event registration is going to show up as a link where people can go to and they can see the menu of your current events and then register for the ones. But if you just want to hide it and you don't want them to see it at all, you can check this box right here and they'll never see it. Next one here, we have show link to history in my membership section. What this will do is it will allow people when they log in to look back at a history of the events that they have registered for in the past. The only caveat to this is that they must have registered as a member, and we'll get to that down here in the second part where we look at the membership authentication options. But basically we have to have a way where they either log in or give their email. And if they can do that and they register that way, then we can track back their history of events. And this will checking this box will allow them to see that and look at them. The next one down here, we have suppress cancellation option. Normally without this option turned on, event attendees can submit a cancellation and cancel a registration that they've submitted. If you check this one though, it will prevent them from using that option. They won't be able to cancel anything. It will have to be done by an admin. The next one down here, we have default to category view. Now, normally when we go and we look at your main page that lists all of your events, they'll be listed individually by event, either by date or by title, however you decide to show them. What we can also do, though, is we can default that page to a category view, where instead of seeing your individual events, they'll instead see your categories, and then they can click on the category to see which events are available in that event or in that category. This is great to do if you have a whole lot of events at one time. So if you've got 20 or 30 events and they're all divided into categories, presenting somebody with a category menu with only 5 or 6 of them is usually easier for them than seeing the whole list of events all at once. So that's all that that one does right here. The next one down here, we have Enable Updated Look. This one doesn't change the functionality of event registration at all. It just updates the look on some of the fields and just the styles that it uses to make them look a little more modern, such as rounded corners and depth and highlighting on some of the input boxes and things like that. But if this is turned off, it will look like it always has. But if you enable this one, it will enable some of the nice newer features on it. The next one we have here is Enable Attendee Check-in page. We have the ability per event where you can check people in and out and say whether or not they actually attended the event. We have a special check-in page that you can enable with this that works with scanned QR codes, and it also allows you to manually check and register people in using that way. And you could have somebody sitting at a registration desk that was checking people in and out using that page. So that's all that that's for. So if you turn that on, a link for it will show up on the attendee list for you. Enable File Upload option is the next one here. If this one is enabled, it will allow you on a per event basis to ask if you want to allow file uploads from the attendees. Now these file uploads can be restricted. You can say you want a minimum or a maximum number of files. And you can also replace the word file with something else if you wanted to use image or transcript or something like that. And those are set up on per event basis. But setting this one up overall will allow you to do this within your events. Enable table registration. This can be a really excellent one to use. If this one's turned on, it gives you another option per event where you can set up a package as a table registration. Now, what that means is that I could set up a package that's, says table for 8. Now, one person would go in and they would select that, and then it would immediately allow them to add 8 more names to the table without going through individually and creating a registration for all 8 people. So this is a great way if you've got like a banquet and you want to have people reserve entire tables at one time. This is a great and easy way for them to do that. All right, the next one we have done here is enable QR code generation for events. Now, if this one is checked, you'll have the option to include QR codes with the attendee event on your confirmation, or the attendee ID on your confirmation emails. As I mentioned before, these work with the check-in page up here. So if you have a USB scanner, you can hook that up and be on that page and scan the QR codes, and it will search for the attendee who has that QR code. So that's a great way to do that. And I know that other clients will also use it for any number of things that they also use QR codes with that are outside of our system. So as long as you check this one here, this will give you an option per event to do that. The next one down here is admin additional attendee enhanced adding. That's a mouthful, but what that essentially means is that when an admin is going through, each time they add an attendee, not just the contact person, but any attendee they add to a registration, they'll have the ability to hard link it to a member ID at that point. Now, this is an option in other places of the system for admins, but this is an easier way if you want to make sure you're directly tying all attendees to member accounts. If you turn this on, you can do that as an admin. This one down here is enable CEU tracking by event field, and you can see if we turn this one off, some of these options down here disappear, and then if we click it, they reappear. What this allows you to do is if you have fields and sessions within your event and you want to track some CEUs by it, turning this on right here will allow you to specify up to 3 different kinds of CEUs. So, I could do water credit or something else here, and it would allow me to ask for these additional ones while we're registering. Now, I can set this up per field. It won't apply it to all fields unless I ask it to. So it will just give me the option if I set this up here. The next one down here is we can enable attendance tracking by field. Now, I talked earlier about attendance tracking for the overall event, where you can check people in and out, but that is for the event overall, so whether or not they attended the event in general. What attendance tracking by field will let you do is if they registered for a field, you can then later go back and say that they attended a specific field or session within the event. So basically, it's a more detailed level of tracking than just seeing if they came or not. You can track which parts of the event they actually came to. The next one down here is time zone. This is fairly standard. I mean, you can set it for whatever you want here. But this will adjust any times or any calendar invitations or anything that you send out with a time on it. It will adjust it by default to this time zone here. And then this one right here will disable daylight savings. So if you live in an area that doesn't observe daylight savings, you can check that and it will exempt you from any calculations where it's adding daylight savings time in. So that's how you would get around that if you're in a place like Arizona or an area of Arizona that doesn't observe that. Event Reg admin email. What this one does is you have the option for members to create events and submit them for admin approval. If they do this, it's going to send an email to whatever email address is entered here to let them know that an event has been submitted for approval. That event will not show up yet. It will only show up once the admin makes it active. All right, so that is the general options section. And those, like I said, they apply to all event registrations. The next one we have here is the membership authentication, new members, prospects, and permissions options. So basically, these all relate to member permissions and how you want people to access different things within event registration. So if I pull this up here, I'm going to take these first 2 options together here. We've got the email lookup option, and we've got the force login option. Anytime that you're going to want to track members registering, so you're going to want to be able to link members back to registrations, and you're going to want to be able to give members special rates or give different member types special rates on membership options. Anytime you want to do anything like that, you'll have to use either one of these options right here. Email lookup, when they first start to register, it will ask them for their email address. When they enter it, and if it matches a member email in the database, it will basically sign them in as that member and then give them those permissions. So if you're saying, I only want members of this type to do this, to get a certain package or field, turning this on will allow you to authenticate and see who that person is in order to grant or not grant those permissions. The force login page does the same thing, except it's more secure. Instead of just asking for their email, it asks them to log in. And then on the right side of the page, there's a button for guests. So that's personally, it's my favorite option. I think it's the best one to use here, both in terms of security and just secure authentication. And it also gives guests a great option where they can just click the guest button and go right through. All right, the next one down here, we've got allow non-members to join as part of registration. Basically, if this one is turned on after the contact info page, so the page where they put in their initial info, if it detects that they are not a member, it's going to ask them if they would like to join or not. And then it will take them through a process where they can join and do some different things. And you'll see here, if I turn this off, it hides some options, and if I turn it back on, because these are all related to this. So if I turn this on again, it will allow new members to join as part of their event registration, and it will add everything onto one single invoice for them on the event side. The next one we have down here is generate username, password, and send welcome email. So if this is not turned on, they can join as a member, but it's going to notify an admin, and an admin will have to come in and check over and make sure they're okay, and then give them a username and password and send them the welcome email. If this is checked, it will do all of that automatically. So if you don't care, you don't want to check people as they sign up, you just want them to sign up. As long as you check this one here, it will make sure that it just does that automatically. So they'll have the whole membership process done at one point. The next one down here is display custom membership fields during member sign up. Now, when they join during registration, we've stripped it down so it only asks for some of the bare minimum stuff. But if you check this box right here, it's going to add in any custom membership fields that you've created and want to ask for, and it will ask for those ones too. And then the same thing for this one down here. Oh, I'm sorry, not the same thing. Allow for discounts on membership dues during registration. Now, normally what this is going to do, it's going to pull from your member types, and it's going to just charge the same price that it normally charges any member who is that type. Now, if you want someone to receive a special discount on membership dues, only if they register during registration, if you check this box here, it will allow you to specify that within the member type options. So you can say, get a 10% discount on membership if you join during registration this year. So you can do that. The next option down here, restrict registrants with unpaid invoices. What this one will do is if it detects that they're a member, and it also detects that they have not paid or they have unpaid invoices, whether membership or event, it will restrict them and not allow them to register until they have paid. So it will present them with a link where they can go and pay and then register after that, but it won't allow them to complete one registration until they've paid for the other ones. All right, the next one down here, restrict non-members. What this one means is that this basically opens up new membership options for you when you are setting up event registrations. So like I said, this has to be used with either the force login or the email lookup, but once this is turned on, you're able to specify that packages can only be assigned to members or guests or even to certain member types. So turning this one on will allow you to access a whole bunch of membership options within the packages and fields themselves. All right, the next one down here, override non-member restriction by email lookup. If this is turned on, it will still do all the authentication options, but if at the page where they're registering it detects that their email matches a member one, it will override any non-member restrictions and give them those packages that should be available to members. So this is a great way to fall back if you're worried about people not remembering stuff, or you're not even too concerned about if they have the correct member information in there. You just want to make sure they can get this stuff. This is a good one to turn on because it will override any other settings. And then this one, if it doesn't, if it fails, so if if we have this option turned on and they do not match a member email, it will give them another link to join. It will take them back through that membership join process. All right, the next one down here, cross-reference members inherit parent member status and type. So if we turn this one on and we have a membership authentication method turned on, if I register and the system detects that I'm cross-referenced beneath another member, I will immediately inherit those rights and the rights and status and type of that parent member. So this is great if you have a whole bunch of members of one type, and some members are tied to companies and some members are not, and you want to give those members that are tied to companies the same rates and benefits of those companies. That's a great way that you can do this here. So yeah, and it will also allow you to treat all people cross-reference below one parent the same exact way. So regardless of their member type, they'll inherit the parent member one and all be the same. The next option down here, allow pending members to register at member rates. Now we have numerous options in the system that allow you to pend your members and not make them active immediately. However, some organizations will want even pending members to be able to get member access and rights during registration. So if you're in that case and you don't mind if they're pending, checking this one will allow them to basically have full member access within event registration. So they'll be able to get all the member packages and the member fields and everything. All right, next one down here, allow members to view attendees registered. What this means is that normally the attendee list is hidden and only viewable by admins, but if this one is turned on, members who sign into the system will be able to see a list of people who have registered for any given event registration that you've got going on. So it's a good way, so I know some people want to be able to promote who is going to what event and you'd be able to see that kind of thing, so that's a great way for you to do that. And then tied along with this one here is hide attendees registered by member type. So if we have this one turned on, it's going to show all attendees. But if we say, for example, we want to hide corporate members and not necessarily show them in the list, we can select their member type here, and it will hide them when it does this other calculation. And you can hold down the control button and select multiple ones down here at a time. So we can hide these 3 different ones all at once if we wanted to. All right, and then the last 2 down here, auto prospect list adding. What this will do is when someone registers, if the system detects that they are not a member, either they have not logged in or they said that they're a guest or something like that, it will automatically create a prospect account in your member database for them. Now that prospect account has no access rights, so you don't have to worry about them logging in or accessing member information or anything like that. It's purely for you. It adds them to the prospect list, and it gives you the option to either upgrade their membership at a later point, but it also allows you to track them and keep that contact information up to date. So this is a really great option to have if you're doing a lot of public registrations. And then the next one we have down here, and then I should say the note add as lead feature is currently enabled. So these will be added type as lead. This comes into our CRM system, our customer relations module, and you can decide how you want new types to be added. So by default, it will add them as prospects, but by setting up other features in the CRM system, you could have them come in as a different type if you wanted to. So that's how this has changed. And then finally, we have add additional attendees as prospects. So this auto prospect list adding only works for the contact person. So if I register and I add 5 people below me and I'm not a member, it's only going to add me as a contact into the prospect list. If we turn this one on, though, it will add me and all those 5 people that I added. The matching for that one is not quite as accurate, so you might end up with some duplicates, just because it can only match by name. We don't have any way to track whether they're actually members or not, or authenticate them at that point. So you may end up with some duplicates, but also this is a good way to make sure you track everybody, and you can just delete extra prospect accounts if it creates them. All right, so that is the membership authentication options. Again, I'll just reinforce it because it's very important. Either one of these ones is the preferred option to turn on. And again, I like the forced login option, but either one are a great way to authenticate your members and open up a whole nother plethora of options within event registration. Okay, the next one we have down here is payment options. So these all affect how people pay. And these are all fairly straightforward here. Credit card payment surcharge. Be careful with this one, but what this will do is it will add a surcharge to any credit card payments of whatever % you enter in here. So, if your card charges you, 20% or something like that, or 2%, I'm sorry, to process a transaction, you can enter that in here and that will automatically shunt that cost over to the attendee. Now, and it says here, be careful of enabling this one because it may be in violation of state law. Every state is different in terms of what you're allowed to do with this one. So the best thing to do is to contact your merchant account provider, whether that be Authorize.net or PayPal, and see what your options are in your state if you want to use this one. The other ones down here, these are purely the different payment options that you can offer. So you can offer a credit card, and this will be online credit card, so they can go and enter their card and it will process through whatever your merchant account is. We can offer a credit card via phone or fax, and this will essentially let them go through and finish to the end of registration without providing their number, but then you can call them or fax them later and they can send you the information and you can process it on the admin side. You can offer the e-check payment. If you're using Authorize.net, they do offer an e-check payment, but if you're curious about using this one, contact us and we can tell you whether or not it's set up for you or not. We can offer check payment, and this will basically allow the attendee to indicate that they'll pay by check and then proceed to the end of registration, and then they can write you a check at some later point, and you can enter that information in. You can offer a bill me option, pretty much the same as the check payment, but it will print off an invoice that they can look at, and they'll get an invoice with the check payment as well. But then they can either mail in payment or something like that at a later point. We can offer a pay at event payment. Again, this works pretty much the same way as the check payment, except they've indicated that they're going to actually pay you at the event, either in cash or check or something. We can offer PayPal payments. So if you have a credit card, merchant account, and PayPal, you can choose which ones you want to offer. So if you don't want to use PayPal for registration, whatever, for whatever reason, that would be fine. And then finally, we have an offer, a push to store payment. What this means is that they can choose to, instead of paying for this in event registration, they can push this payment into the online store, and then they can add other things into their cart and pay for everything all at once there. All right, so those are the payment options, and I should also say that each event also has an option where you can suppress any one of these ones. So you can set all these ones up, but then on a per event basis, you can suppress different ones if you want to. All right, the next one down here, we have invoice options. There's only a few of them right here, but this one right here, send invoices to billing email. Now, if somebody's registered as a member and we can link them back to a member account, and this option is turned on right here, it will ignore the normal email that they've entered, and it will instead use the billing email that they have in their profile. So this is great if you've got a bunch of people from one company and they've all got the same billing email address where everything goes to. It will send it all to there instead of sending it to the individual people. And the next one down here, we've got use billing address on event registration invoices. Again, same kind of thing. If it detects that they're a member and it also detects that they've got a billing address here and this is checked, it will use that one instead of whatever they enter during registration. Again, really great if you've got a bunch of people under one company and you want to use the same billing address, same billing email for everybody under it. And then down here, we've got 2 spots for some invoice notes. The invoices for everyone for event registration are going to look the same, but if you add some text right into either one of these ones, this will add an extra line or two to the bottom of each invoice. So if you have a special note, it's like made checks payable to such and such or something, they can be entered here. And then this one works the same way, except it's for the receipts. So the receipts again will all look the same, but you can add some special notes here that will show up on all of them as well. Okay, so after the invoice options, we come down to confirmation and broadcast email options. Now, you're able to send broadcast emails to all of the attendees, or you can even pick and choose which attendees you want to send it to. That's what these options right here offer. It also affects the confirmation emails that get sent out automatically. So whenever anyone registers, they're going to receive a confirmation email. So these options also pertain to that one. So this one specifically first here, include online payment link and confirmation emails. So like I said, everyone gets a confirmation email after they've registered. But if you check this one here, if they have not paid their invoice yet, so if they said that we're going to pay by check or whatever else, it's going to give them a link within that email where they can click and they can go and pay that online if they choose to anyway. So that's great if you just want to give people, always give people an easy way where they can go and pay you for their invoice. This next one down here, only display fields attendees selected in confirmation emails and summaries. Now, by default, what this does is the confirmation email is going to list out all the options in the event and what they chose and what they didn't choose. It's going to hide anything that's dependent. So if you're worried about dependent fields or you've got fields that are tied to a specific package or something, you don't have to worry about them seeing those. This is only going to refer to fields that they saw during registration and either chose to select or did not select. And it's going to tell you in the confirmation email, it's going to list the field and it's either going to list if they selected something or it's going to say not selected. Now, if you choose this one, it's going to also ignore any blank field. So if they didn't check a checkbox or they didn't enter anything into a text box, it's going to hide that as well from the confirmation. So this gives you a little more, if you've got a whole bunch of options, you want to hide any bloat, so hide anything that they didn't pick at all, you can check that there and it will hide it. A confirmation email reply address. So again, everyone receives their confirmation email. If they choose to reply to it, this is the email address that it will go to. Suppress confirmation emails, admin. What this means is that if I am an admin and I am manually entering people, if this box is checked here, it will not send them a confirmation email when I complete registration. Normally it will, even if I'm doing it in admin mode. But if this is checked here, it will suppress that. This is really great for instances where either you're testing an event or you want to send out the confirmation emails later or something like that. This is a great way to stop that. Block current event attendees from receiving event invitations. So what this will do is you can send out event invitations through the normal broadcast email system, and you can add anybody you want onto it. If this is checked, when it's sending them out, if someone is listed to receive an email but they're already registered for the event, it will skip them and it will not actually send them an email in that case. Next one here, we've got include add to calendar links in summary, confirmation, and invitations. What this does is it includes a few links, one for add to Google Calendar, another to add to Outlook, and another to add to iCalendar in Apple. And these will add links in the confirmation email, the summary, and on the invitations, where people can quickly click the one that applies to them and it will add it directly to their calendar with the event date and time and name and everything. And then attendee messaging, only include individual attendee information. What this means is that in the attendee messaging system, you're able to include a summary of what they signed up for. Now, by default, if I'm registered in a group with 6 people, I'll see everyone's information, all 6 people's information in that if I receive the email. If this is checked, however, it will skip anyone's information that is not mine. So if you want to send out individualized emails to people who are registered in groups, this is the best way to do that. It will hide the information that's not applicable to them. All right, going on to the next one here, we've got custom verbiage and alternate label options. And these are all pretty self-explanatory too. What all of these ones allow you to do, these top set anyway, they allow you to either replace default verbiage or add in verbiage where there currently is none on all of these different pages. So on the public sign-in page, we can add new verbiage. We can use add verbiage on the forced login page. Again, we can use the member verbiage on the login page. We can change the guest verbiage on the login page. So again, these are all very self-explanatory for what they do. And also adding verbiage on spots is very easy. So if there's a spot that you need to add custom verbiage globally and it's not an option already, just send us a ticket and let us know. We can usually do that in under half an hour. And then down here, we have a couple of alt labels, one for organization and one for position. So organization and position are both fields that we ask for during registration. If you instead wanted to say association instead of organization and title instead of position, these 2 words would then replace that everywhere throughout registration. So that's a great way if you don't like that verbiage and you want to use something else, you can replace it here. All right, so the next one we've got down here is global field options. These mostly apply to either suppressing or enabling a couple fields globally. So I was just talking about the organization and position field where we can ask for we can have alternate labels for them. We can also suppress them completely. So if you don't even want to use them at all, we can suppress them completely here. Same thing with the city-state field. We can suppress that from the attendee as well. And then we also have an enable mobile phone field. We normally have fields for home and work phone, but if you want to enable a mobile phone field as well, you can check this on here. And then this box, this is really useful here to turn on additional attendee email option. Normally, we only ask for the email address from the event contact, but if this one is turned on here, you have the ability to ask it for every single attendee that they add. So this is a great way because you can include them in broadcast emails and all sorts of other stuff. Next one down here, we have booth options. This is an upcoming feature, but I can go over the configuration options for it now. If this one is checked right here, you'll have the ability to create a booth registration for events, whereby you can create like a conference map with booths that people can register for. This next one down here, display attendee information on chosen booths. What this means is that if someone has chosen a booth and someone is looking, either registering or they're looking at the public booth page, if they hover over the booth, it will just tell them who chose the booth and give them their logo and their information. Otherwise, this will be hidden. And then finally, we have disable website header and footer on booth pages. The booth pages need to be full-size pages, full width of the screen. And so some websites can handle that no problem, but other websites, older ones, are not necessarily able to do that. So if you have an older website, we can check this one, and it will allow you to use the booth system without having to redesign your website. And then finally down here, we have dynamic badge options. These are some that not everyone uses these, but we do have the option to make like ticketed badges per event. And these options aren't here. Will set up how the badges will generate. So by default, each badge set is going to have a name badge, a receipt badge, and an itinerary badge. And these print off per attendee. Now, if I click any of these boxes here, it will exclude these badges. So if for whatever reason you want the name badge, but you don't want the receipt and the itinerary badge, you can check those and it will hide them. This one right here, we can check this one and we can include the QR codes on badges. So if you're doing a lot of badge scanning and you need to have the QR codes on everything, we can click this one and it will turn on there. And then the last one here is for numeric fields, create as many tickets as the user enters. So if you've got a numeric field and it's for tickets to something, and you want it to create 3 tickets if they enter 3 there, you can check that one there, and it will generate those on the badge output. All right, and then finally, so if you're all done and everything, all you have to do is click Save Configuration, and it will save all your global options. And as I said before, this applies to all of the events that you set up within event registration. All right, I think that's everything for global configuration. Thank you for your time. I hope this video was helpful, and as always, have a great day. Thank you.